lost to rodeos in town. All our friends will be going down. Might catch a ride downtown. You wanna go downtown? Don't want, dig up things you do want. The sun is on your face. I'm in love with a girl that I met in the bar. She's brought me this far, yeah. Such a beautiful face, and I know I'm in the right place. Come with me now, girl. Gonna show the world how the candle and the wine can bring us on to mine. Well, the Barstool Rodeo's is in town. I know all of our friends will be going down. Hey girl, we might catch a ride downtown tonight. Hey girl, do you wanna go downtown tonight? Well, it's so hard for me to say, but that's just for today now. When it gets dark, I find that I can't speak my mind. This town has always been my friend. I think I'll try again now to get that number right, so I can hold that line. Well, the Barstool Rodeo's is in town, and I know all of our friends will be going down. Hey girl, we might catch a ride downtown tonight. Hey girl, do you wanna go downtown tonight? Sandbox, bury things you don't want, dig up things you do want. The sun is on your face. I'm in love with a girl that I met in the bar. She's brought me this far, yeah, and all I did was say, can I buy you a drink? Well, the Barstool Rodeo's in town, and I know all of our friends will be going down. Hey girl, we might catch a ride downtown tonight. Hey girl, do you wanna go downtown? Hey girl, do you wanna go downtown? Hey girl, do you wanna go downtown tonight? Hey girl, do you wanna go downtown tonight? Now there's a
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Birmingham, still live here.
Okay. Do you know Paul Jackson and the folks over at Breadbox?
I do.
That's some good people.
I know Paul better than anybody. I listened to that Breadbox episode that you had.
Oh, good.
And I know them. I don't know them well, but I know them. My buddy Greg had a nickname for Jeff, called him Smiles, and I think that might be the most appropriate nickname I've ever heard for anybody.
I call him Sweat.
I see him at shows. I see him at shows all the time, and that dude's just got a perma-grin going. So
I call him Sweaty.
okay, well that's probably appropriate too.
Yeah, let me see. So we were supposed to come up. We were actually supposed to come over there last weekend, but we kind of got freaked out by the storms, and I think it was kind of much ado about nothing. It sounded like it wasn't really as bad as I thought it was going to be, or at least this far south.
Where were you coming up for?
We were just coming to hang out, get out of town.
I gotcha. Where are you?
I am a little bit west of Athens, so we're not we're in Beaufort, Georgia, not Beaufort proper, but I'm like 40 minutes from Athens.
Gotcha.
So
I listened to Fred Adams interviewed as well, since he's the guy that is responsible for a lot of the videos that I'm able to touch up because of his work.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So I went over to his house and we did a talk. Very eccentric dude, very knowledgeable dude. I mean, he in terms of Panic and Bloodkin, I don't know that there's anybody out there that was in knee deep. In fact, I didn't know that during Coconuts, that's who they're talking about.
Yeah.
I got a friend named Fred. I didn't even realize that until later.
That's what I've heard. Interesting to hear confirmation on that, but that's what I've heard as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. When did you get into Panic?
Yeah. So I've got an older brother that's probably responsible for me at least getting into him. He was in college starting in 95, so he saw a bunch of those 95 through 99 shows. So probably around then is where I started knowing who they were.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he was home from college, and I was in my bedroom and watching Conan O'Brien late night, and it was at the intro, and he's saying, musical guest, Widespread Panic. So I went and knocked on his bedroom door, and he's like, hey, Conan's got a Widespread Panic tonight. And I ended up sitting in his room watching it with him. That was the episode they played Aunt Avis on Conan, which, speaking of which, I've got somebody sent me one of the tapes for the Aunt Avis B-roll footage. So it's interviews with Dave and JB and Billy Bob and Vic filming the Laura Dern starring music video for Aunt Avis. And it's been on YouTube, but I got the actual tape, so I was actually able to clean it up a little bit compared to what's out there. But
that's cool.
So that'll be coming up eventually. But anyway, yeah, my brother got me to Panic. He bought me the first two albums, this Till the Medicine Takes and Every Day, which was his favorite album. Till the Medicine Takes was the most recent album. And then my first shows were Oak Mountain 2000.
Yeah, that was... I think we went... I'd be a liar if I said I was there for the 2002 show, but I think we were there for the 2001 show. And if memory serves me right, it was either... Somebody will call me out on this, but it was either 01 or 02. I think it was 01 when the cops did a kind of a sweep on the place.
It was 02.
Oh, was it 02? Okay. Yeah, that was kind of weird. It was kind of like Operation something, but...
Operation Don't Panic.
Oh, is that it?
Mm-hmm. I was in high school, so I was a senior in high school that year. And of course, we knew that Mikey was sick at that point. That being the spring tour that I guess they at least thought that was probably going to be the last one. He joined on for a couple shows for this summer tour that followed. I remember where I found out that he was sick. A friend of mine, William Cooney, rest in peace. I met him on the backside bowls of Vail during spring break, so right around this time in 2002. And he had heard on the free shuttle bus on the way to the mountain, somebody who ended up striking up conversation. Somebody told him that they had heard that Mikey was sick. And he told me backside bowls of Vail. And it was soon after that, those shows, the spring tour, April run of shows ended up. Yeah, I guess I was lucky in that being in Birmingham and being in high school that, I had 9 good shows, 3 runs at Oak Mountain that were, I don't know, they kind of set me up for disappointment because they were such barn burners that you go to a normal show after those Oak Mountain runs and you feel let down, but you gotta get over that quickly.
Right. It was, what's funny about those, I had moved from Athens to Atlanta in 01. And I remember this vividly because I was commuting from Athens to Atlanta before I moved to Atlanta. And it was, my first day on this new job was 9/11. And I remember I was like getting ready for work and I was like, had the news on. I was like, holy fuck. But I didn't even know he was sick. I was tuned into the music, but like back in those days, the internet wasn't a huge thing. And so I heard that he had died on 96 Rock, which was like the predominant rock station in Atlanta at the time.
Wow.
And I remember I was on my lunch break and I was going down to, there's like a Burger King down the street, and I was going to lunch and I heard that, and I was just like, oh, fuck. Like, just knowing right away. It was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But had no idea leading up to it, just because I'd kind of, not that I'd isolated myself, but I was getting away from Athens. I was kind of growing into my own, like, career-wise, and I had no idea. So when I heard he had passed away, it was a total shock to me. But
yeah, that's interesting. I wonder. Again, like I said, I knew going in, and I think a lot of people knew going into the spring tour, and of course, a lot of their songs took on a completely different meaning. It's interesting because I wonder those 2000s, that Oak Mountain run, 426, 27, and 28, 2002. Were probably the most spiritual musical experience, anything that I'll ever have, because every song was like singing to Mikey, like, hold on, this part of town where there is love, there is hope, vacation with you by my side, I'll get back alive for my next vacation. It's just like kill goosebumps, man. Every time I remastered 428 2002, which is the third night of that run. It's on my YouTube channel. I've done it twice now. I'll probably do it a third time because I keep learning things as I continue to do this. But that Trouble Down postcard, the crowd reaction to when they put Mikey on the screen during his down solo gives me goosebumps. It's giving me goosebumps talking about it right now. It gives me goosebumps every time without fail.
Take along some of your favorite things, 'cause you're
When I talked to Sam, and I was a little hesitant about asking him about this, but I said, "Man, you were on stage when they did Don't Be Denied in '02."
Oh,
I said, could y'all hear that? Like, with all the amplification on stage? He was like, "Yeah, it was totally audible." But yeah, that shit gives me chills to this day.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall during some of that, or even have some of his, just like what the organization felt palpable. Was it kind of ignored and tried to forget about it and go on about as normal? And because I figured that's probably what Hauser wanted to do, and that's why he was out there. Is he wanted the semblance of normal while he was going through the end days of his life, I guess.
Yeah, was it? And I'll tell you, I'm getting a little off topic here, but when I heard that Jimmy had cancer, I was like, "Oh no, not again!"
No.
I've watched somebody go through stage 4 cancer, and it's an interesting phenomenon because, like, it was when I was married, it was a brother-in-law of mine, and they have to stay positive. They're going through these chemo treatments and stuff, but like, they're dying, like they're just their body is just withering away, but they're positive as shit because they're trying to keep hope alive. And when they said that about Jimmy, and I can't remember what the announcement was, but I think somehow I knew it wasn't terminal. It was just something he had to deal with. I was like, whoa, thank goodness, man. Because, oh God. But
yeah, I'm glad to see him back out there.
Yeah, no doubt. So how did you, I remember very vividly the first time I saw a videotape of Panic. It was probably like 97, 98. It was someone, I was kind of surprised somebody had popped it in at we'd been out all night in Athens. We'd come back to this house and we were hanging out and somebody popped in a videotape. What made you get into, can you talk a little bit about how you were able to acquire like you've got video of him, Mikey, standing, like your video library is impressive. What made you get into it and how did you come across all this footage?
Piece by piece a little bit. I started when I was in college. In 2002 I started college. And
were you at Tuscaloosa?
No, I was at Ole Miss.
Even better.
And so when I got into the dorm and hooked up to a T1 line or whatever blazing fast internet they had into our dorm rooms, the first thing I did was start downloading Panic shows. And it was in the era of Grand Poobah. I don't know if you ever heard of Grand Poobah.
Oh, for sure.
It was, I think it was FTP protocol is what it ran through. I think it was before the torrent days really took off. But yeah, there was just, if there was a person on there that was feeding it on there, you could download these shows. So I downloaded a whole bunch of shows. And then I want to say it was still Grand Poobah that the video started popping up on there. And I downloaded as many as possible there, but Panic caught on to it pretty quick and they shut it down. And then in the online community on Panic Freaks and all that, it became Pineapples to get around the, I think they had censored the word DVD, or I can't remember exactly what it was. So Pineapples was invented. So I had acquired some of them back then. I still have them, some on burned discs that I burned myself. But the interesting part of all this is beyond Fred Adams, I don't know who filmed any of this stuff. I wish I did, but I don't. And it's clear that it's a multitude of people other than the Fred Adams. Fred Adams is all the 92 and before, maybe 93 and before, especially the Athens, the Georgia theater shows, and things like that. That was all Fred Adams, from what I can tell. And then beyond that, I'm not positive. I think Pilgrim 622 on YouTube is the guy that really put them all digitally out onto YouTube first, and may have been the one that first synced good audio to them. Because if you get the VHS, I have a box of VHS tapes Jeff Hino gave me. I got connected to him through my Instagram channel. And again, just lucky enough, he lives like 30 minutes out from where I am. So I met him in a McDonald's parking lot and he gave me I have it sitting in my living room, big ass box of VHS tapes most of what he gave me is already, like I said, been digitized as on YouTube, or also a guy named SYF8, I guess Steal Your Fate, I guess is what he's going for there. On Panic Freaks offered, he had a bunch of stuff. He was sending me like with a Google Drive, he'd send me a random show here and there that I'd asked for. But he told me, hey, if you send me a hard drive, I'll put everything I have on it and I'll send it back to you. So that's where I got most of my stuff. It was already digitized and sent back to me on a hard drive. I've picked up a couple of random shows that I didn't have on that hard drive from people through the community and be like, hey, I have this show, or found out they have this show. I'm actually waiting for this. I've been off all day and been working on 3/14/1992, which is, it's a Fred Adams show. 3/13/92, the day before, was JoJo's first show. It's at Georgia Theater. But for whatever reason, from what I can tell, and I didn't have it, I had the 3/13 show. Don't have the 3/14 show, but it was in that box of VHS tapes. Actually, excuse me, somebody sent me this one. I can't remember who sent me this one. But somebody sent me this lone tape. I've transferred it. I bought VCRs. And I had 4 VCRs at one time trying to find the right one to do the right stuff. Digitized it, got it in my computer. I'm working on it now. This is the second time I've gone through with it. Because again, as I move forward, I learned some things. And kind of, as you know, we've talked on and off about getting together and do this interview, but I kind of took a hiatus away from it. I've learned some things that I think is going to has upped my game as far as how these videos turn out. Up converting and getting denoising, degraining, deinterlacing, which is, I've learned so much. I was not the guy to start doing this. I didn't know anything about video editing and anything like that, but I've learned a lot going through it. And I'm enjoying it. So I keep trying to up the game. There's this program called Hybrid that is allowing me to do a lot of this stuff, like up converting it to 720. Anyway, long story short, I already did this video and I didn't like how it came out. It was one of the first times I'd used that Hybrid program. So now I've gone back, now that I've learned some more, I'm going back and doing it again. But it starts off with Please as the show opener. First time it's been played in 5 years, and the second time ever.
Now, when you're doing, I'm curious to know, only because I do a little bit of audio editing. When you have a video of an old show like that, are you going out and getting like a soundboard recording and pairing it up with that and putting it into? One of the cool things you do on your site that I really get a lot of joy from is you'll do like a before and after, or you'll take you'll do multiple takes and you'll say, hey, which one sounds better, and people will kind of vote on it. But are you taking a separate audio source and pairing it up with the video, or what does that look like? Yes.
So short answer is yes.
Okay.
If there's soundboard available, I'll add the soundboard to it, which really how I got started off. I guess this was the question you asked me a second ago that I kind of went around the block and didn't really answer.
No, you're good.
Originally, the first thing I wanted to do, like I said, when I started in college, I was all about downloading this shit, and I was really into categorizing all these shows, and I got them all listed, the names and all that stuff, and uploaded into the cloud so I can listen to them anywhere. But there was a period of time where I didn't have a computer really, and I didn't really have a need for one. Panic Stream existed, cell phones now existed, and I didn't have much use for a computer until a few years ago. I bought a new PC, and I had been wanting to. The first things I wanted to do was the Bowlegged from New Orleans, 2001, which is maybe the best thing Panic's ever done, period. But it's definitely the best Bowlegged ever.
Chicken in my car now, the car won't go. I can get next to you, baby, but I got no place to go. Tastes better than the T-bone steak and little segment on the side. We don't find a place to get off, gotta lead it on the ride. You and me, baby, we're more hand in hand, like a bow-legged man. You and me, baby, we go hand in hand, like a bow-legged woman and a knock-kneed man. At this party, I'll see you around. Well, I've been looking at you. Look at you, look at me, looking at you, looking at me back again. Loud right here. Let's go upstairs. Oh man, that step's broken. Just step right on over. My friend's room is it's in Cleveland. I don't know. He's somewhere. He ain't coming home tonight. Man, got these records. Look at that. Remember records? Too rough. You want a little? What you want? Sweet. I love Michael Jackson when he was a little man. We must bring salvation back. whenever you call me, I'll be there. Next one. Yeah, put that in. Hit that button and just slap down. It's records, that's the way they do it. Remember records? Yeah, Marvin. Let's get it on. Let's get on. We are sensitive people with so much to give. There ain't nothing wrong with me loving you. Now, sugar. Don't worry about the kitty cat, he likes it. He's just knocking shit over off the desk just to be part of the music. Oh, let's get it on. Take you to my car now. My room too. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Lord, take you up to my room. We only make those sleepers cry. Got a feeling deep inside, you know it ain't no lie. Just you and me and my room. Circle comes around. No misfortune in your life when your feet have left the ground. Baby, hand in hand, like a bow-legged woman in a locked-in man. You and me, baby, your hand in hand, like a bow-legged woman in a locked-in man. You and me, baby, no hand in hand, no bow-legged woman, locked-in man. Thank you very much. Thank you much. To Bruce Hampton and the Colton Talkers.
But they had released when George was coming on, they gave him a couple of discs, or at least 20, 30 tracks of soundboards for him to get familiar with the music. And I think a lot of them were covers. One of them was that 2001 Bowlegged. It was a soundboard, and I was like, well, I want to add, when I have the opportunity, I want to add the soundboard audio just to that one song, just not even a whole show, just that one song. And then a few years later, Horace was running the archive, I guess, for Brown Cat, and he did a podcast where he was releasing partial shows, whole shows, whatever they or he had determined weren't of a quality to actually like make an official release, have people pay for it. So he was just putting out these shows once a week through this podcast. And one of them was the the Greek show in 2001 with the sit-in with Santana. So that was the second thing I wanted to do, was add the soundboard audio of the Santana sit-in. And so the first 5 songs I did, and the first thing I ever did with the YouTube channel was just 5 individual songs, that Bowlegged and the 4 songs that they did with Santana. I got done with that and I was like, well, I wonder if I can do a whole show. Like, I can do the songs, but what if I've got the whole show soundboard? I'm going to see if I can sync up the soundboard audio with the whole show. I did that. I was like, well, that wasn't that hard, actually. I can do this for more. And that's just where it started. The next thing I asked somebody on the Panic Freaks, the Sandbox, and they responded 10/28/2000, I think. There's soundboard from that same thing came from the podcast with the Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress and that show, and synced that up. And then I did all the soundboard shows available to all the video that I knew was available. And I still I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. So then I was like, well, maybe we can make these videos look better. And that's where I started doing the remastering a little bit. And some of it I look back on the early ones that I did, and I'm like, oh, that looks like shit. I could do so much better now. And that's why I feel like I'll never stop with this, because I'm always learning stuff. And when I learn something, I'm like, fuck, I want to go back and redo that one because it can make it look better. So it's just going to be an ongoing thing. Those were the first things that I wanted to do, and it just took off from there.
When you I'm familiar with the audio piece. So you're talking. There's actually apps, or not apps, but there's software out there that will clean up the video. Is that right?
Oh yeah. So the first thing I did and kind of learned going from VHS. This is getting deep in the weeds now, but going from VHS and digitizing it. VHS, and what I understand is it's interlaced footage. You can see it in old movies, old videos that have been digitized, that when like the camera pans, they'll have these lines that are stacked one on top of the other. And so what originally, like your set-top box old TVs, those were interlaced. They were 480i. Now you've got 1080p, which is progressive. But the interlace, you end up with these lines back that when you have movement, and I'm going to put those out on my Instagram channel when I'm showing the difference of some of these new videos I've got ready to go, like the one I'm premiering next week. I'll show what I'm talking about. Like, say, a drumstick, when Sonny's using the timbalas or whatever they're called, and he's got the drumsticks flying, they would be like staggered cut. But I've learned how, with this software called Hybrid, it's free. It's kind of, and this guy named Tompdog, Tompdogg, he's got some Panic shows and stuff on his YouTube channel. He's the one that turned me on to it, and it took a while to get used to. That's why I've been gone for so long, and why I'm going back and doing this 314 show, because I kind of finally figured it out a little bit. And then so deinterlacing is pretty big on it, and then degraining it, denoising it, sharpening it a little bit. I've always been doing the sharpening stuff through Adobe Premiere. The biggest thing, what I do in Adobe Premiere, and I've been doing this since the beginning of just remastering the videos, not just adding soundboard, but actually making the video quality better, which might be the most significant change, is adding stabilization. It's also the biggest pain in the ass. It's the hardest part, and that's what I'm doing with this 314 show right now, is because, again, getting deep in the weeds here, but so your camera's shaking. Even you have a tripod, but say people are dancing, it just bounces up and down a little bit. And that's part of what I'm showing in those before and afters on Instagram. Just a little bounce. You take that out, and it makes it seem like it just almost makes it more professional looking, instead of just a bootleg guy with a tripod out in the audience. But the issue with that is it cuts off some of the edges. So the shakier the video is, the more you're going to get cut off on the edges. So to try to keep as little of edge cut off as possible, I have to go through a show, and basically anytime there's a big movement in the camera, I have to make a cut there, stabilize that 20-second gap or whatever, and then it's hard to explain, but move on to the next one. So basically I'm doing like 20-second clips, stabilizing it, and it takes a minute to process that on the computer for a 2.5 hour show. I'm doing it anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, 30 seconds at a time.
Oh my God.
So there's a movement in the camera. Yeah, it's the most time consuming part. If I didn't have to do that, I could pump these out over it just like daily. But that takes me days to do. I've been working on this one for days.
Well, that's how I know you've got a passion for the music, though, because for you to spend that much time taking one show and making it quote unquote perfect is, I know how much work that is, man. I mean, for me to edit like an hour and a half or an hour and a half audio clip just for the show, I mean, like I want everything to be perfect, kind of like I'm sure you are. Whew, man, I tip my hat to you. That's a lot of work.
Oh, thank you. That's what I'm no artist, not creative really in any way, but
me neither.
I guess this is what they say when an artist is never satisfied with his work. I get it, because I strive for perfection. It's hard to attain, but I strive for it.
Man, it's impressive though. It's it's funny because I think I may have told this story before, but there was a time when I saw Panic in Alpharetta, Georgia, and it had to have been at a Jimmy show, but I remember we were standing next to a guy on the lawn. He was a young kid. And I remember like having this realization in my mind that, oh shit, there's a whole generation of Panic fans that never got to see Michael Hauser. Like Jimmy Herring is all they know is like the lead guitarist. And it's
you're nailing it.
Yeah,
for me.
It's crazy. And it's just it speaks a lot to the band's ability to maintain and keep the music alive for that amount of time, and it blows me away that they've been doing it for what? I mean, this is like 40 years now that they've been.
I think next year is their 40th.
Yeah, that's right, 86. Right. But still, goddamn.
Yeah, I know. Well, the thing that blows my mind and also makes me sad is that Jimmy's now been with the band longer than Mikey ever was.
Right.
It is crazy because I don't think Jimmy being with them that long, which just shows that what they did with Mikey in such a short amount of time too. But that's the difference between those first 14 years, 16 years where they toured 100 plus shows a year, which I'm glad they did because we've got a lot of shows to listen to from them. But then going to touring one show a month or one run a month anyways, makes it seem like it's so much shorter of a time. But
yeah,
they've been there longer.
So I think you said, so your first time seeing them, did you say it was Oak Mountain 2000?
2000, yeah.
What do you have any other shows that you went to that were kind of memorable for you?
Like I said, that 02 run was can't be topped for me musically. At least it hasn't yet. The 07 Halloween run in Asheville, that was fun. Did the show before that. The most I've done with Jimmy was probably 2019. I think we did Pensacola, did the Halloween down in New Orleans for that again, which was fun. We had a good group. We had an awesome Airbnb. Shout out to Allie Sam for getting the best Airbnbs available in the city. That was a fun trip. Portsmouth, Virginia, that was a George show, but that was fun too. In college with some buddies, sleeping in shitty motels. That I just pulled my hoodie over my face and tied it because I didn't want to sleep on the under the covers of that place. Oh, that's a cool venue though.
I was actually
Bonnaroo.
Bonnaroo. We went to the first Bonnaroo, and I don't think I've ever been to a place where it was so hot. I didn't think I was going to make it through.
It was bad. That's one of the reasons I haven't been back, because it's just, I can't think of a more miserable place to have a festival in June. Like, it just seems like, what are y'all doing? But yeah, I had just graduated high school, 2 weeks beforehand. We showed up with a styrofoam cooler with a loaf of bread and some cellophane cheese. And somehow made it through the weekend. Yeah, it was rough.
It's fun to interact with people that don't have that prior generational experience, Mike Hauser, and listen to songs that they still do. And I'm sure it's hard as a guy that's stepping into that role to play a song that was written by a different guy originally. Jimmy does a really good job. He's, of course, an incredible guitarist, but it's fun for me to interact with her because there's certain songs that she likes. Like we were talking about Little by Little which is, more of a this era song. But anyway, it's fun to have this little banter back and forth about different like Mikey-era stuff and listen to the two different versions and like compare and contrast. And so anyway, but.
No, that's interesting. I'd like to hear her takes on some of those. And I mean, does she prefer Mikey on certain songs?
Well, I think so. We were listening to.
I mean, it's completely different.
Totally different.
That's the
beauty
thing.
of it. Yep.
And it is, and I get it, and I'm glad they went that route instead of just having somebody hit the licks. But I love Mikey Panic, and
for sure,
it's hard for me to go and listen to it a different way. It's still fun. It's still. I wish they were coming to Birmingham. It's sounding like they're going to forego the new Amphitheatre this year, from what I'm hearing.
Oh no!
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but I'm sure they'll come soon enough. And I guess they're not doing Huntsville either. But my travel range for Panic right now is very limited.
Do you have kiddos now?
I'd rather go see some. No, I just a different interest as far as music goes. There's different bands and things I'd want to see than go pay a bunch of money to go see a weekend of Panic.
Well, now that
no offense, I mean, I've got plenty of friends that go do it, and if I go do it again, it'll be because a bunch of my friends are going to do it. But
since you opened this door, what are you listening to? What's hot on your playlist right now?
The last trip we took for music, was Daniel Donato.
Ooh.
And we drove up to Atlanta to Terminal West. I've done that a few times. I really enjoyed him the couple times that I've seen him. They blend two genres really well together.
He's a lot of fun.
He is fun, and just getting started, and I like to see that and be around for that. Kind of be able to watch them kind of grow. Another one is All Them Witches, which is kind of completely out of. I think they're kind of a jam band, but they're definitely not a. And I hate that really term anyway because it doesn't do much to describe the music. But they're my favorite thing going right now. We went and saw them at the Ryman Halloween last year.
Say their name one more time.
I even have I'm not a fan of the name, but All Them Witches, which I think they got from Rosemary's Baby. If you want to go check them out, they've got they've done KEXP 3 times. I recommend any of those. First one's great though, and then they have a live album on any streaming service. It's live in Belgium, I think, which is also a video on YouTube. The whole thing was filmed on YouTube with the cameras that are in the venue cameras. But really good stuff. They to me fit the Panic role more than any other band I've heard since Mikey, in that they kind of approach the song differently every time. The lead singer doesn't sing it the same way every time. I wish they changed up their set list more. I wish they played longer, but they're definitely not a jam band. They're more of, I guess they get pegged in like acid rock or acid blues. They're more of a bluesy. I'll send you a video after this of the lead guitarist playing Statesboro Blues from live at Fillmore East, note for note. And it's ridiculous. And that's kind of, they have a little bit of that with a heavier edge, I guess you could say. Winston Ramble, local band.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of Winston Ramble.
Have. Yeah, I
love them. They're local from the free state of Winston County. Played my wedding.
No shit.
Yeah. But they don't get around much, but they do little tours here and there. If they come around your town and you see it, I recommend going and seeing them. They do a badass Honky Red cover for the Panic fans out there. A couple other good stuff. They play, and they do like some Alice in Chains covers and Mad Season covers. Grew up in the grunge era. I kind of love that shit.
Yeah, me too. You were teasing a little bit about an upcoming project that you were going to release. Tell me about that a little bit. I think there was a show that you were remastering.
So the quality of the video is not great. I'll be honest with you up front, but the show is fire. They're kicking on all cylinders. April of '97. I believe my brother was at this show, and somehow he had this tape. I've never seen anything on YouTube. It may be out there, but I haven't seen it. Anything from this show. It wasn't in a big box of tapes that was handed down to me. It wasn't on the hard drive. I've never heard of this video existing. And randomly, my brother had it. He once had a big box of tapes, but he's moved and traveled and is married and has kids now. So it got deduced to 2 tapes. this one in what was the Colonel Bruce Stain Soul show in 2001. And this show is Bronco Bowl 97, Dallas, Texas, and it has the Gimme Pigeons from Light Fuse Getaway. You've heard that a billion times, but have you ever seen it?
Right. Oh my God, that album is ridiculous. I tell people,
and that would be it's always,
go ahead. No,
if you're getting into Panic, that's what I tell people to go to. That's, if you want to if you don't like Light Fuse Getaway, you're not going to like Panic.
Right. Yeah, that's a fact. Well, cool. I can't wait for that release. That'll be fun. What's
Yeah, it cuts off at drums. Don't have post drums, but it's pretty front loaded. Starts off with Going Out West. It takes a minute for the camera to kind of get its bearings about itself, but and it's filmed actually pretty well. It's just not great quality. So again, I've put this out on my channel, on my Instagram and all that. If you have tapes, I'm interested. I'll pay shipping to get them here. Of course, I'm not going to ship a whole box, but if you got something I don't have, and that's kind of what I've been working on too. A lot of what I've been working on and what I have ready to go for the most part are things that I transferred from VHS. I haven't seen them out there. They don't exist on YouTube. I've got a 99 Chicago show, Halloween 1990 at the Georgia Theater, which I can only imagine is Fred Adams. Mm-hmm. I've got another 97 show. Like I said, that Ann Avis thing. I've got a couple of their late night appearances that I don't think are out there.
People that don't know Panic, and I've had this happen within my own family, people that don't know Panic but know that I'm into it will oftentimes ask me, and this is this is a rhetorical question. They'll ask me, "Well, what's your favorite Panic song?" And it's like, fuck. But if right, but if you had to think about,
depends on the day of the week,
and yeah, exactly. And that was one of the things I think, and I had this conversation with somebody else. Every Day was my first CD, and it was Every Day was such a spectrum of songs. Anything from Papa's Home, which is a very mellow song that kind of ramps up to a rock ballad, Picking Up the Pieces. Like that, I feel like that album, if I'm going to recommend something to somebody that's never listened to Panic, that's what I'll typically point them to. Space Wrangler too, but I feel like Everyday Companion was, or not Everyday Companion, Every Day was kind of like my go-to because that was the first one I had. But if you had to think, if you had to answer that question, do you have like a war chest of songs that were kind of like your favorites over the years, especially during that Mikey-era?
And there's a lot of them.
Right.
I could probably name the ones I don't like easier than the ones that I do. But I mean, I'm a big Diner guy. That Diner from 2000, which unfortunately there's two nights of that 3-night run in New Orleans are on video or out there, except the first night with the Sweet Leaf to open up the run in that diner where it's goddamn, I love them yesterday's donuts better than they ever know what they love what they got right there. Woo! You need to go listen to that. Kids, if you're listening, and all you really know is Jimmy, go to Panic Stream and go to, I think it's 10/26/2000, New Orleans. It's a show that opens up with, the run opens up with Sweet Leaf, and it's the first time it's played in years, and they crush it to start things off. Yeah, I'd say it's 10/27/2000. And Sweet Leaf opens up, and then Diner close to the end of the set. Ridiculous. That's the best Diner, I think. Some people are going to disagree. There's a couple of, insane ones out there, but that's one of them. There's an Asheville one, actually, 11/22/2000, that is on the channel that I have remastered. It is soundboard. That was the show that was put out by Horace on the podcast. 11/22/2000. It was the day before Thanksgiving. Okay. And JB has technical issues all through the first set, and he's getting mad. This is something I would want to ask Sam about if I ever talk to him. And he's mentioned it. I think I've commented on a post or two about it. But yeah, JB, and you can hear it when he starts playing. It happens during Waker, and you can just hear this. It's just this crackle coming through the audio, and he's getting pissed. and he takes off his Washburn. He picks up that Chet Atkins, I think it is, acoustic electric guitar thing he's got. And then by the end of the set, and the end of the second set starts, and they've got basically his practice amp out there that they've now mic'd and are using for that. But it is an incredible show. One of the best disc 3s that's out there. Starts off with the Diner, Pilgrim's Postcard, Encore, Don't Be Denied, Knocking Around the Zoo. Dirty. That diner is real good. On the YouTube channel, go check it out.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, man, I love what you're doing. It's one of the things I've gone back and forth with on the podcast is there is clearly an appetite for people to do video, and my show is only audio, but I have a project coming up which I'll talk about later. But I've considered moving over to video just because I feel like people are a lot more visual than I had given them credit for. So your channel on YouTube is very cool, because if I'm just hanging out and I want to watch an old Panic show, that's where I go. So kudos to you for spending the time and putting in the work to keep that music alive, man. I gotta give it to you.
I appreciate it. Like I said, I started with just wanted to do a few songs and for myself, I'm glad other people are enjoying it, because I'm still, and that's why I want it done right and done well, because much to my wife's chagrin, I pretty much watch one of these videos every night. It may be a song or two, and it's usually after she's run off to bed, but I'll throw one or two on just to watch Mikey shred.
Well, I'll text Sam and ask him to chime in on that situation with Asheville in 2000 and see if he can add a little color. He's just got so much knowledge from his time with that band. It's fascinating.
I know, and he remembers detail.
Right.
Well, I've listened to them on a few podcasts, because I'm interested in, out of any of them, I'm probably more interested in his story because of his time with Mikey.
Right.
He was right there next to him, talking to him about his equipment, everything. I want to hear stories from that guy more than anything.
And let's give him a plug. So this Friday, he's playing, Sam Holt Band's playing in Asheville, and then Saturday night they're playing at the Poorhouse in Charleston. So if y'all are, whoever's listening to this, if you want some good fucking music, go check them out in Asheville or Charleston this weekend, because that guy's out there still doing it.
And it's great. I saw him, I can't remember what month it was, probably 6 months ago or so. He played the upstairs room at Avondale Brewery.
Damn, I missed you. I was there. I fucking missed you. I didn't know you then.
Oh, no shit. And it was good. I think he opened up with Sandbox, actually. I was like, which was kind of like on the Sandbox channel. I was like, hell yeah. I think I've told him this through a direct message on Instagram or something, but their keyboard player sounds just like Vic. I can't remember what song they played, but man, that dude nails it. It was I was impressed. It was very, very good. And he came walking through the crowd with Mikey's guitar in his hands, holding it, hugging it, holding it, caressing it as he had the way that there's no, as you've seen, there's no green room or anything there. The stage is at the back of the room, so he's got to walk through all these people to get there, and he's just caressing it like my baby.
I would too. I'm a fledgling guitar player, but I'm constantly like looking out for like a what is it, a 97 Telecaster Plus Deluxe or 90? I can't remember the year.
It's earlier than that, because
92.
I'm actually looking at least, because I'm looking at like I said, that 31492 is up on my screen right now, and he's got the Telecaster.
Okay.
Those are things that Sam knows pretty well. Even though he wasn't working for him, he was seeing them. He was taping them around that era. But yeah, he had a black, I guess, Telecaster, I think it was, before that one, just a straight black one. I'm not sure which he's playing in the N3190 show that I'll be putting out in the next little while. Okay. I haven't figured out my schedule on how I'm going to release these things yet. I've got the 41197 ready to go, but I'm trying to approach the page differently, just to not consume me as much as it did when I was posting every day and all that.
It's easy
to be more sporadic on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to, now that I have a logo, I'm going to try to get some merchandise out there too, so I'll never monetize the YouTube page. Not that I would be able to not that it would make any money from views anyway. I'm not getting enough views for that, but it's copyrighted essentially. When I get it put up, it uses its algorithm and knows that the melody of C Braun is being used at the 2-minute and 7 mark to the 6-minute and 30-second mark. So it doesn't. Yeah. So even if I tried to monetize it, it wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Have you ever
all the generated income goes to the copyright holder anyway?
I was going to ask you about that. Have you ever gotten any pushback from Brown Cat or anybody like that?
And it was, I get it, and I communicated with the guy actually. So it was interesting. They all get copyrighted. Like I said, the algorithm picks it up, but there's no. They allow it. There's no strike against my account. But I had used. It was just on individual songs like "Walking After Midnight," 2009. Oh, that's probably my most memorable Jimmy show. That was the best. That's the best Jimmy show I've seen. Was that 09 New Year's 12/31/09? That great sit down first set. The "Wanna Be Starting Something." The Arleen with the what was it? Another one bites the dust teased through there, and then the "Walking After Midnight," which the rumor is that Susan Tedeschi was supposed to make it to do it with them, and she couldn't make it, and they were stuck in traffic or whatever. That's the rumor anyway. But I put that up there with the Nugs audio and sync to it, and he was like, "Yeah, you can't do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I get it." so, but otherwise, like I'm, mostly using either the soundboard that's publicly out there on Panic Stream or audience recorded show anyway. So,
Thank God. I mean, when I talked to Ted Rockwell, he, being that Dave was a big Grateful Dead guy, I feel like he was kind of the impetus behind allowing tapers, whereas I think there was a period of time where the record labels were not very keen on it, but he kind of knew organically that was going to help the band reach a broader audience. So thank God for Dave and his foresight in seeing that allowing this type of thing was going to be good for the band in the long run. So yeah, I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah, but the story, and I think this came from Horace doing the podcast again, was that Dave had basically had the Panic archive. Like he had all the recorded tapes, and they had supposedly been doing multi-track recordings for every show since about '94. Which is how they do those, the widespread archive.
Right.
I bought the CD on every one of those, and if I want them to put out more, I'll buy the CD every time. I love them. They don't probably make any money on them. I'm probably the only one buying CDs at the release, but recorded multi-track. Apparently, he just showed up to Horace's house with a garbage bag full of these tapes that had just been in a closet or something that they hadn't been taken care of. So a lot of the, even Horace says it, and they didn't take great care of some of the stuff. They weren't Fish about things, unfortunately. Fish has an archive all the way back of master recordings that are crazy. That the guy that makes Trey's guitars was Languedoc was their recording engineer for a lot of their early days, and so they have a lot more stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, apparently a lot of that stuff got degraded and shitty and wasn't able. That's why he was putting stuff out in the podcast, because it just wasn't of quality to put out as an official release, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
But hey, if they're listening, and I think his name was Matt, that was I think he's in charge of the archive now. He's the one I emailed back and forth with after I got the copyright strike. Let me get on y'all's videos, because I can make what y'all have. I can make it look better. I was surprised. I thought we had gotten I didn't think they had much Mikey-era video out there. I was completely blown away and surprised during COVID when they did the Never Miss a Sunday show and put out a lot of Mikey stuff, a lot of great Mikey stuff. 2001 show, 95 show, was it? No, 94 show in Hayden Square. A lot of good stuff. But I look at it on YouTube, and what I've learned doing this in the last 3 years, I can make that footage look better. And all I want is it out there looking its best.
Right.
If they can put it on their channel, I'll do it for free. I'll come up to Athens so the data or the files don't leave y'all's facilities. I'll bring a laptop. I'll buy a laptop, bring it up there and do it. Let me do it. Just get it out there.
Damn
right. That's all I want. That's the only downside of the Jimmy side of things, is that they're the Jimmy band. And they've even said this in almost directly is that, they're very much a band in the now and focus on now. Like, I get that, but you're not gaining value. These Mikey-era things aren't gaining value. I can't imagine. And I don't know what the holdout is on it, but I don't know. I can only hope and wish and beg.
Well, listen, you come up and you remaster their old Mikey-era videos. I will take their ticketing process and take it back to the old days of mail-in. And we'll just,
Mail order.
we'll just set up shop at Brown Cat and just run this bitch like it used
We're
to be.
going back to the 90s, baby. Get in or
That's
get
right.
out of the way.
That's right. Well, dude, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's for
Thank you, sir.
for old heads like me, man.
You too.
I love the old shit. I still love the new shit. I like the albums that they've been putting out. Some of their shit is still very much rocking.
I'm still a fan of this band. I bought both those albums, both of them on vinyl. And my opinion of that is probably, from what I gathered, because most of my friend group are Panic fans and are still very much into the band. I've talked to them about it. Out of the 2 albums they just put out, if you want to call it 2 albums, it's really one big album together. Cosmic Confidant might be my favorite song out of those. And it's really like the least, it's weird because it's kind of old Joe-esque, or, JB tune. It's not rocking, it's not heavy, which would normally not be my favorite type of Panic song. But I don't know, there's something about it that I just love. It's got this swanky little sway vibe. I like how Jimmy is on it. He's a little held back a little bit, which I enjoy.
I'm really into King Baby. I think that's a great tune.
That's okay.
Halloween Face, and they certainly do, giving that head nod to Danny with Trashy.
Yeah,
they're still doing it.
And I thought it was cool. Do you ever see the music video for that they put out with it?
I haven't watched it yet.
I liked it. I was impressed. I was like, damn.
Okay.
You go. It was actually really good. I liked what they did with it. It was simple, mostly like CGI, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it, but
right.
It may have been AI. I don't know, but I liked it. They did well with it, I think.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's I appreciate
you
it.
Too.
And it's we're gonna keep this goddamn era alive. I remember when I first got into podcasts, listening to that Bluest Tape podcast where they kind of break down shows. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that podcast. Shout out to those guys. And I know it's a lot of work, man. And so I tip my hat to you. But you bring,
appreciate it.
Yeah, you bring people a lot of joy, man. Keep up the good work.
Well, what I say to anybody that ever posts like "thank you for what you're doing" or "appreciate you," whatever, jobless the tapers, because that couldn't do. Again, I wish I knew who these people were that filmed some of these shows, that brought in, and I want to know how they did it, and if they have the masters. If you have masters, please contact me on my Instagram or YouTube or whatever. But I just want to say thank you for preserving. There's some really great shows that got saved. Whoever filmed those 2001 shows, the Greek, Wiltern, the 2001 New Orleans run, that has that best Bowlegged ever. Whoever filmed those, thank you. Seriously. Honestly, I'll go back to talking about myself, I guess.
No, you're good.
I haven't touched any of those 2001 shows for the most part, because I didn't think I could do anything to improve them. That they're, that's how good to me those were shot, and just even filming them and getting the right people at the right time. That's somebody sat through a show and basically watched it through a camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. They went to a Panic show, paid for a ticket to sneak a camera in there and film it. And they
right.
They spent time zooming in and changing who they're filming and stuff. But with this new software, I'm actually able to upscale these up to 720p. It takes away a lot of the grain and I've actually found a way to improve these. So I'm going to start working on some of those. I've already done the 2001 Wiltern run. There is a soundboard night out of that from the podcast. I think it's the first night on soundboard, but the other two sound great with just the audience sort of synced up. But look forward to those, because they're going to be, like I said, those shows already look great. You're going to be, I think everybody will be happy with how they come out.
I'm excited. And if anybody's got any old stuff they filmed in their underwear drawer, listen, on my day job, I work for FedEx. I will pay for shipping
Okay.
for you to send those to Turner. Just reach out to me or reach out to Turner.
Now we're talking. Now we have a sponsorship.
That's right.
Let's go.
Well, good to talk to you,
Corporate
man.
sponsorship. Let's do it. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for reaching out.
Absolutely, man.
Walking this morning about 10:30, a six-pack of starter stickers sensei. Walking this morning about 10:30, a six-pack of starter stickers sensei. Walking this morning, walked out alone, ain't got no electricity, no chicken on the phone. Woke up this morning, what do I see? Got no electricity, I can't watch no game here. Bomb. I got all these thoughts running round in my mind. A bottle and a cork, that's the way you spell New York, Jim. A knife, a fork, and a bottle and a cork, that's the way you spell New York, Jim. No, I can't stand it. 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 Arleen was a dreamer. Arleen was a G.